Hello friends, today I'm going to teach you how to work our syringe pump. We're going to pretend that our little friend here is set up with an IV. Don't mind his face, we're going to pretend that this is an arm. So you can see that we have our IV catheter little piece right here, and we have our T-port. We're clamped right here, this line has been flushed, and we're ready to go. So we're gonna set him right here. We're going to look at our syringe pump here. You can see that there's a rate, a limit. You have the volume infused right here, the power, the alarm, all kinds of start, stop, purge, silence, all kinds of good stuff here. On the back of the machine, you have your on and off button. So we're off, and now we're on. So how do you know that we're on? Because the lights are green and it says that we're on power. If you turn us off, we no longer have the green, but because we're charging, we still have this little charging port here. So just because you see the green here does not mean that your power is turned on. This is how you know that your machine's turned on. So now let's get into actually working this thing. We have a 30 cc syringe. We're going to click in here, take this piece, stabilize it here. You see that our syringe size changed to 30 mLs. This little piece here has a little lever. We're going to go here and clasp onto the lever. In order to remove it, clasping, removing, pulling here gently, don't pull it too hard to where it breaks off. We're gonna pull gently and twist down. So one more time, slowly. I'll remove this so that you can see it a little bit easier. We're going to pull gently and twist to stabilize your syringe. We're going to take this little clasp here. We're gonna push down or pull out. So now let's talk about what we're going to do with this syringe here. So your syringe needs to go into a line so that it could go into your patient. So what you want to look for on your extension set bag is to see what your priming volume is. So for this particular brand, it's 4.4 mLs or 4.4 cc's in this line here, which means that if you have your syringe and you're priming your line, which means you're getting rid of all the air and you're filling it with either your fluids or with your medication, you're priming at 4.4 mLs. So you want to push it. You see how there's bubbles, right? I don't know if you can see it in the middle in the video, but right here is where our bubble starts. We want to push all of this. Try not to get all the fluid on the floor like I am. We're going to push until we get here. We want to make sure that there's no air in our line. Once you make sure that there's no air in your line, clamp it right here so that you know that no further air can come out. This whole time, you need to make sure that there's a cap on here. That could be your needle. That could be anything that has this cap as long as it's sterile. Why do we want to do that? Because if I have this out open to the world, anything can go in here. We don't want that to go into our patient's veins, so we want to keep it capped off and sterile. So let's go ahead now and we're going to put it in here. We're going to put in our syringe. We're going to stabilize our syringe, and we're going to go just like this so that we can push out. Now you can see the last person that used this used a rate of 102.4 mils an hour. I want to have 20 mils an hour. So I'm gonna press the middle button and hit rate, and then I'm going to go down to 20. So if you see here, we have a minus and we have a plus. If we go towards the plus, you see that my rate goes up. If I go towards the minus, you see that my rate goes down. This syringe pump is a little tricky because in order for it to get all the way down, you do have to go a long time to bring it all the way down. So I want to go to 20. Right now we're at about 200. So here we are. Now we're at 20 mils an hour. The doctor just told me that she actually wants to make it 22 mils an hour. So how do we do that? Select rate. We're going to go all the way down again, because with this pump, you can't go to 22 unless you go all the way down below 10, and then we go up again, and you see how I can do the single digits now. So here we are, 21, 22 mils an hour. Perfect. Now I want to give 50 mils total. So that's going to be my limit. We're going to select, and it gives you your total. There's different syringe sizes that you can put in here. So this goes up to 2,000, but again, you could go up or you can go down. The lower that you go, that's when it goes to 400. So now we have 10. My eyes are bad. This is actually 100. So now let's go to 50. So our limit is 50. Our rate is 22. So we have our 30 ml syringe. Our rate is at 22 and our limit is at 50. So now what do? Now we're going to unclamp our piece here. We're going to take off our sterile cap. And if we're going directly to the patient's vein, they're not on fluids, we just want to go directly in, we're going to untwist our little thing here. And now everybody's T-ports and their extension sets, everybody's a little different. So yours might not look exactly like this when you're doing this, but we put directly to our patient here. We have everything unclamped. This T-port has already been flushed. We unclamp here. Now we're unclamped, we're ready to go. So now what do? We press start.
Injection begins.
She talks to you. She tells you when the injection is beginning. Now let's say all of a sudden your patient starts moving its arm or something happens to your catheter. I'm just gonna put this here for reference. In just a few seconds, you should see she's gonna start beeping at you. Okay, so now our alarm is on. We know our alarm is on because we have red flashing light and we hear the beeping. This particular machine will tell you what's wrong with her. So if you give it 2 seconds, you should be able to hear what she's complaining about.
Injection is blocked.
Okay, so she's telling you that your injection is blocked. If you can't hear her, it's okay, because you're looking at your red alarm, and then you can go right over here. Not only does she verbally tell you, but she will tell you up here on her little screen. So what do? You check to see, why would my injection be blocked? I'm looking, I'm unclamped here. Let me go up here. Oh, I'm clamped right here. So let's go ahead and unclamp this. And all that we're gonna do, we're gonna stop, and then we're gonna start. And then she resumes again. And that's how you work this syringe pump. You see how our fluids are flowing to our friend Henry here. Now let's say that we're not going to be putting it directly into the catheter line. What do you do? So we're gonna stop here, disconnect. Make sure again that your line is always sterile. So how I like to do it, and people can do things their own way, but what makes things easier for me, we're going to pretend, obviously this is for our sub-Q fluids. We're going to pretend that this is for our patient. So what do we want to do? Our fluid lines are connected to our patient. So here we have the base of our line here. We're going to connect them to our friend Henry. Henry is now getting fluids through our, oh, sorry, Henry. Henry's getting fluids from our IV pump. So we don't want to put these fluids through the IV pump too. We want to put them in our line. So you have multiple ports on your primary set. Your extension set is going to be plugged into your primary set. So there's, again, different types of extension sets, primary sets. You might have one that screws. If you have the blue ports, you might be able to screw your extension into your primary. For this particular example, we do not have the screw on. So we're going to take a needle and we're going to put it on the end of our line here, and we're going to put it into our primary set. You want to secure your needle into your primary set for safety reasons, and as well as to ensure that your patient gets the fluids. So let's say Henry decides that he's going to fall off the table again like he did 2 seconds ago. Henry might fall off the table, and now your fluids are out. It's now not sterile. You have a needle flying around that can injure your patient. It's just not a good look. So we want to put it in here, and we want to make sure that we secure this so that Henry gets the medication that he needs. And you can secure this with whichever way you feel most comfortable. I like to secure it as if I'm going to secure a catheter. So you want to make sure that if you have this here, you're securing your needle to your line so that the needle doesn't pop off. And you want to just make it as clean as possible. And now we have secured this onto here. If you have a twist version, that's always going to be the best. But right now we're working with what we have because COVID has given us limited supplies. So you just want to make sure that you are secure in here. And now, since you have stopped your syringe pump, to make sure that you have time to set it up here, we're going to start. And she's going to go again. Okay, so now that our injection has been completed, and we know that because this machine will say that the injection is completed, and you can check here and you can see that our syringe is pushed all the way up to the top, which means that there's nothing left in this syringe. However, don't forget that you still have 4.4 cc's in this line here. And depending on how much medication this pet needs, it might be a smaller animal and it might only require 5, 10, 2 cc's, whichever. So you want to make sure that you don't forget about the amount of medication that's in this line. So the 2 options that you have, talk to your doctor. Hey, your patient has 4.4 cc's left in this line. Do you want me to put saline in here? Do you want me to pull fluids from its bag? Always check with your doctor first to make sure that you keep it on your same rate, but you want to push through and finish the rest of this medication. And that's all that you need to know for the syringe pump.